Okay, perfect. All right, so we're live. Welcome everyone. So this is the start of our community launch. I'm extremely happy to have you all here. And as I said, this is an opportunity for all of us to connect globally on a global level and to move forward powerfully in 2025. So initially, I wanted to start with the module of identity, but I've decided to change that today, and we're going to look at motivation. All right. What is motivation? What drives us to do things, to take action, or to not take action? Because I think this is an issue for many of us. And we need to understand what drives that, what drives us to do things or not to do things. All right. So I'm going to pull up a slide when I can find it in the background, and I'll show you the first one. Just wait a minute. So here, hang on a minute. Slideshow. Bear with me. Present a view. All right. Okay. Try it again. Okay, here we go. This is what happens, That's it. Okay. All right. So we're looking at how our mood influences our motivation. So what is mood? Does anyone know the difference between mood and emotion? Do we know the word mood, what it actually means? Do any of you not know what the word mood means? Do you know the phrase in English, in British English, we often say, are you like if I see my daughters like this, right? I'll often say to them, are you in a mood? Have you heard that expression? Nod your head if you have. Cross,
Yes.
you have. Right. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So your mood is basically something that is connected, comes from your environment. It's your environment that shapes your mood, right? So here in this slide, we're going to be looking at the power of the environment over your mood and your motivation. So obviously, when we talk about environments, we're talking about our work environment, our family environment, our social environment. What else? Whatever. Um, there are many different types of environments that influences our behavior that maybe we don't even realize how powerfully they influence it. And even if you look at the first point over here, advertising. And we often don't think about how influential advertising is on our psychology, on the choices that we make, right? So if you think about television, television deeply has over the years highly influenced the choices that people make. It's influenced their behaviors, all right? And also the patterns of thinking, perception, all right? Leading to even, deep thoughts and deeply rooted beliefs and emotions that go with that. So, advertising is a very powerful way of shaping someone's perception. It's interesting that when I started to create videos, right, on YouTube, which is about what, 6 years ago, it started out as something fun. And I thought, I want to positively influence people's lives, right? So I started to write articles and then I made them into videos. And when I found the right footage, video footage, and connected it with my writing, and then I recorded my voice. And of course, the way in which you communicate can powerfully influence how the other person perceives you. And we'll talk about this in the community some other time. That's when we talk about communication, right? Leadership skills, We'll talk about that later on. Hang on, what's that? Oh, perfect. Okay. Oh, it's all right. So when I put my voice on there and then I added music, music has a highly powerful influence as well over advertising. Film. Think of the film industry. The film industry. How much of the movies that we watch has shaped how we view the world or how we view things? And have any of you seen the effect that music has on film? Let me ask Rebecca, have you ever seen, there are some on YouTube, there are some videos that show how music, when you change it in movies, can change how you perceive a scene. Have you ever seen that before?
Usually, if if I in a bad mood, I usually to listen some song that
Mm.
is to encourage song, not the pop song, like some worship song. So you let you strengthen your power in your mind and and let you have let you more grateful. So you turn your bad mood to be a good mood.
Right, perfect. So I do the same. You know, who else does that? Put your hand up if you do that. Do you do that as well? I do that. I listen to positive music, right? When you're feeling down, if you're in a low kind of vibe, low energy mood, usually you go to music that lifts you up, right?
If you up, yeah.
So, right, positive. Either it has like a positive beat to it or it has positive lyrics. Lyrics. I think.
Yes, this is also important, the lyric, right?
Right. Okay, here's a question to all of you. You can either write it in the chat or you can respond to me with your mic, whatever you feel, whatever you prefer. How no, second question. My first question is the music industry in 2025. I have been teaching students, as you know, probably, who are between 17 and 19. And of course, I have five daughters, right? So, and they're between 14 and 24. Um, and so I know the kind of music that they're listening to. And I've got the Italian and the English, right? Because my girls, they listen to both, and my students, they listen to both Italian and the English. But I have to say that most of the songs that they're listening to, it's very concerning because the lyrics are, it's really talking about bad behaviors like alcohol addiction, drug addiction. The lyrics always seem to be very heavy, sort of always lamenting, complaining. And I think it's driving younger people to feel more low energy. I don't know how they can listen to it. I really don't know how they can listen to that sort of thing. What's the music industry like, Belinda, over there? I mean, you've got, what's it like over there? Do you know what people usually listen to over in the US at the moment?
Um, Actually, I don't know, but I always often listen to my daughter's music. I think there is a very
There you
different
go.
from what we have in my background. So I like a cranberry, that type of song.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but right now they're
Sounds
very
good.
special, like a very soul and a mix up like some, yeah. So
Right.
yeah, when
Yeah.
they are driving, I say, oh, now the music is so different. Yeah.
I want to tell you about one of my daughters. She had some difficulty, some health problems. She's getting a lot better now. But she used to listen to this, what you call trap music. And a lot of it is mostly Italian, even though she's half English, half Italian, so obviously. But a lot of that music is very negative. And she just recently, she told me that she doesn't listen to it anymore because she finally realized the negative effect that it was having on her mind, on her psyche. All right. Fi, let me ask you, what do you have any kind of I mean, is this making sense for you as well? Do you have anyone? Have you seen this yourself?
Yeah, it makes sense for me, and especially when I doing exercise. I like to listen some music which make me energize or motivate me to keep running. Yeah.
Right. What is it? What is it? What is it that makes you motivated? Like, is it the beat, do you think? Is it the actual lyrics? Is it just the melody? What aspect of the music do you think is the part that makes you motivated, that pushes you to run?
Um, all of them. The
Oh,
beat, or sometimes I like to listen to some motivational speech with
right,
some powerful background music. Yeah, I
right.
feel that is very wonderful for keeping me uh, to run further. Yeah.
Right. There's a channel that I really love when I go to the gym. When I used to go, when I say used to, when I used to go walking on the beach, and it's called Fearless Motivation. I'll send you it later. You should look those up. Fearless Motivation. I mean, it might not be your cup of tea, it might not be what you like, but that really that made me really motivated. And I think it's really important to have your own soundtrack. And what I would advise you all to do is create a playlist, a motivational playlist. That is so important. It was absolute key to me actually taking action, is to have a playlist. So that's number one. All right. So that's advertising. So advertising really influences your thoughts and emotion. Think about McDonald's. How on earth, right? How many people love McDonald's globally? And is it good for you? Rebecca, do you have McDonald's sometimes from time to time?
Yes. Mm, usually when I would like to have fast food, I will intimidate to think the McDonald, because
Mm,
you can buy a coffee and a bread immediately,
mm,
faster to get the food for to myself. So McDonald is already, this brand already deep in my heart. So I think this is come from start from my young to now.
mm.
Usually people like to go McDonald's because they like their hamburger, French fries. So immediately to think these kinds of restaurants.
Right. Yeah, you're right. It's fast food, it's convenient, therefore, right? And you're right. We've been sort of conditioned into the McDonald's, into loving McDonald's really since we were younger, because it's through the advertising. It's colorful. They have a clown. Actually, personally, I don't like clowns, but anyway, they have a clown as their mascot. And it is very appealing to children and young people, you see. And so that's it. Again, it's in the advertising. Okay, let's look at social media. I can't actually see the chat. Let me see if I've got the chat over here. Okay, over here. So just Put in the chat if any of you actually use social media and which ones you use. So social media, what have we got? We've got Snapchat and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and what else? I don't know. All of you, do you use social media?
I hate to use like social media,
You do?
but my body and my besties, and they say, what about download like Snapchat and Instagram, like blah blah. I say, I don't want to play because I think like it's really waste time. I don't like waste my time.
You prefer to be productive. Yeah.
Yeah, and one day my friend asked me to play like Snapchat, blah blah blah. They said, okay, let me download it first. And I
Snapchat.
actually,
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
because in America they really love to play like Snapchat and
Right.
TikTok as well.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, so I have Snapchat, but I'm not play a lot because I don't know how to play.
Well, I don't think it's really about playing that one. It's really about, I mean, I done Snapchat, but I just took it off my phone. I did it for a minute, but it's really, it transforms your look, doesn't it? It makes you look really funny, right?
Like a filter.
Yeah, exactly. So you're just putting on, like a hat or something. It's transforming your face and it's
Why
funny.
they share the photo?
I never shared it. I kept it on my phone.
Oh, got you.
I wouldn't share those photos. I mean they're funny, but that's it. It's amusing. I mean, what that is, again, this is the entertainment industry. So what's interesting about the word entertainment, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, right, is that the English language comes from Latin. So English is derived, it has a Latin root, Latin Greek root, right? The word entertainment, you've probably heard me say this. I'm going to say it again. It actually, within the word itself, there's a very deep rooted meaning. So en comes from entrare, right, which means to enter. Enter, ter is Latin for three, the number three. Entertain means tenere, to hold. The word tain, maintain, to hold, tain, tenere. And mint, I think I've said this to some of you, maybe Phi, did I tell you this? Can you remember what mint stood for? Mint? Can you remember? No? Anybody know? No? Entertainment, ment is mind, la mente, mente. So entertainment actually means go within, enter, and hold in three ways. The mind. How is the entertainment industry influencing our thoughts, decisions, choices, behaviors, and actions? How? Three ways. It says it in the word. It's audio, visual, which conjures up what? Emotion. Audio visual creates emotion, imagery, word, music, emotion. That's what it is. So you see, and then what happens is that we get sort of hypnotized into these actions because what's happening there? So when we go on to you gave us the example, Megan, of Snapchat. All right, let me ask this question. Anyone can answer. Why do we go on Snapchat initially?
I don't know. My friends say it's really funny, something, blah, blah. I don't think it's not funny at all.
Right. So you decided to go on there because you were curious, because your friend says, oh, it's fun. Right? So you were curious right? Am I correct?
I was curious,
Hmm.
but yeah, just curious. A little bit curious.
Yeah, you were just curious. You were like, okay, what's all the fuss about, right? Let me go and see. And then you were turned off by it. So that's it, really. It's because people, obviously, if we're looking for entertainment purposes from a platform like Snapchat or Instagram or TikTok, then there's something missing, isn't there? We're looking for pleasure. So if we're looking for pleasure in our life and we're trying to look for it in places like social media, obviously we're trying to avoid something, because usually when we're looking for pleasure outside of ourselves, we're trying to avoid pain, right? And this is usually why we get stuck. So let's sort of explore this. So I have noticed in our environment right now that we have a general happiness deficit. Do you know what I mean by that? Oh, hang on, let me see. What's that? Fear of missing out. Yeah, that's right, Fi. Do you want to expand on that? Where are you? There. Do you want to expand on that when you said fear of missing out? That's true. I didn't catch it when you said it.
Yes.
Yeah. What expand on that when you said fear of missing out? What did you, because I didn't catch when you said it. What did you want to say about that there?
But sometimes people use the social media like Facebook, IG, TikTok, etc. Because sometimes maybe they don't have the aim. Their aim is to browse this social media, um, and they want to keep browsing because they fear of missing out some information. So they yes, the new terms.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mis- yeah.
That's a very poignant example that you gave us there. You're absolutely true. So on the second point on the slide, you can see where it says social media creates unrealistic happiness standards. And I think that's one of the main problems where, I mean, not just young people, even adults are concerned. You know, we often see people who are talking about their amazing life and they look like they have a perfect life. And and while we're doing that, we're creating a high sort of expectancy that just isn't true and is just unrealistic. There are only a handful of people, and I think, thank goodness, it's getting broader now. So more and more people are doing it, but we're still only a handful of people who go onto social media and they dare to be truthful and speak their truth and tell the audience how it is. And in 2025 already, I've seen that people are more attracted to watching people who are more authentic. And I think that I was saying this, I think, to Megan, I was telling you this yesterday, I think, wasn't I? Authenticity in 2025 is the absolute key. So also within that is the fear of missing out. You're absolutely right, Fi. And I think that's why we tend to get drawn into conforming to peer pressure. You know what peer pressure is? Yeah. Peer pressure and conforming to social norms. I think that's another thing. All right. So right now we find ourselves in the mid sort of core of a happiness deficit. I know that because of the students that I have been talking to. And they talk about anxiety, depression, they talk about suicide. So really at the moment, post-COVID, we are finding ourselves in a happiness deficit. So it's something we need to address. All right, so, and we've already kind of looked at this. So what does happiness deficit mean? It means seeing idolized lives online and therefore feeling inadequate, right? And that leads to you adapting and trying to find a solution. So you're trying to conform to somebody else's standards instead of addressing your own. So this leads people astray because instead of using their own navigation GPS system, they're following someone else's ideals, someone else's standards, and going off track. Because you are not that person. You're not the person on the internet. You are unique to you. And I think that in 2025, we're called as adults to really start to understand our own desires, our own ideals, and follow that instead of trying to live up to the standards of our environment, the expectations of our environment. Do any of you know the number one regret of the dying? Did I tell you this at all? Have any of you, did I tell you? Belinda, did I tell you? I thought I did. Can you
Yes.
remember?
I think regret to do the things in time, like current to do in time. Yeah.
It was basically it was a nurse who for 10 years of her life she looked after people who were on the last few months of their life, right? And she asked every single one of them what they regretted, what was their regret, the number one regret in their lives. And the results were so shocking that she felt that she had to write a book. And so she did. And she called it The Top Regrets of the Dying. You can find it on the internet. The number one regret of the dying was this. They said, I wish I had lived a life true to myself instead of a life based on other people's expectations. That was the number one regret. So you could say then that happiness, does it mean, how do we achieve happiness? Is it through authenticity? Is it through finding ourselves and being truthful to ourselves despite what the environment around you thinks or believes or judges about that, right? And I really believe that that is where is something that is absolutely intrinsically connected. So let's look at external control. So yeah, so we've already talked about society. What about even companies and the way that, like I said before, advertisements, our work environment, even your relationship with other with other people, right? How we're sold quick solutions. I mean, how many of you have been on YouTube and you've got these advertisements just coming up constantly? Isabel, have you had that? Are you still there? I can't see Isabel. Where is she? There she is. And Susie, you were at the bottom as well. Okay, let me talk to Susie and Isabel for a minute. Have you been onto YouTube and ever seen these advertisements and you're bombarded with people thinking that they can offer you things, solutions? Yeah? Do you get that at all on YouTube?
No.
No, you don't. Well, I do all the time. Susie, do you get that? Have you ever been on YouTube where you're just bombarded with people trying to sell you things?
Yes, I was, but I get a little bit annoying, so I buy the premium.
Oh, you bought the premium
Yeah.
to avoid it. Good shot. Yeah, no, I didn't, and I'm constantly avoided by it. Yeah, so you see, it's like if you look at Facebook, and I find this really, really interesting, right? If you look at Facebook and you look at I don't know if I can show you this. Let me see if I can show you this. Hang on. Facebook's mission statement. Can you see that? What can you see on the screen, guys? I don't know if I don't know what you can see. Are you still looking at the slides, or can you see the?
I can see the screen. Yeah.
Okay, what does it say? Just read it out to me. Facebook's mission?
Is
Facebook.
to give people that one.
Yeah, the power?
Feel community.
All right, and bring the world closer together. All right, so here's the ultimate question. Has Facebook succeeded in its mission to bring the world together? Yes or no?
I think yes. I also think yes.
Okay, okay, expand. I guess it has in a way online. Yeah? Yeah? Who said yes? Go on.
I think so because at the beginning of using Facebook, I saw my parents, they really get connect with some old friend.
Right. So it has achieved in some respects. It has achieved, as far as online connecting is concerned, it has achieved. What can you see any problem with? So this, you see, we live in a world that's dualistic. Dual meaning dual, two opposites, right? So when there's something, you know, that's a positive, you're always going to have a negative. So pro and a con, pros and cons, right? So the pro is that we're connecting people, and technologically, let's say, well, I mean, that obviously could lead to people meeting in person. So like did you say your auntie or your mother? Who was
My
it?
parents.
Your parents. Okay. Well, that's amazing. Actually, it was my sister. In fact, I have a half sister, and she introduced me to Facebook, and I found a lot of my school friends. So you're right, you know, school friends that I haven't heard from for many, many years. What is the downside of being too connected to websites and social media apps like Facebook or Instagram? What's the downside?
It is too convenient that people don't bother to really meet in person.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and again, I think in a post-COVID world, that's the problem that's being created because we have gotten used to being more isolated, right? And so it's led to us being a little bit more detached from one another and more kind of in the comfort zone of our own home. And I think that's absolutely true. All right, let's go on to the next slide. No, hang on. Why is it not doing this? I'm going to have to share it again, I think. Unless I do that? No. Why is it not working? Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to have to do it again. If I can find it. Okay. All right. Oh, I don't know why it's not moving now. How strange. Okay, there. Okay, so what, can you see that, yeah? Let me see what you can see. What have you got written on the top? What is motivation? Is that right? Is that what it says? Does it say what is motivation? Nod your head if you can see that.
I can see that.
Okay, good, because I wasn't sure if you got the right slide or not. All right, so motivation isn't a single thing. And the problem is that when we're trying to create something in our life, right? When we're trying to change a habit, let's say. Okay, so let's say in 2025, a lot of people have the desire to start a New Year's resolution. That's a classic, right? And they usually fail. I think 90% usually fail. And it's because you cannot just increase your motivation. Because when your motivation is dependent on a feeling, then it's unstable, right? So most people are waiting to feel something before they take action and change a habit, or they introduce a new habit that they want to incorporate into their day. Most people will wait for a feeling to arise. You see, so it's environment dependent. Therefore, it's influence. Your reality is that your motivation is influenced by your emotions, also your identity. How? Well, if you have an identity base that says, I'm not the type of person that goes to the gym, I don't like going to the gym. If it's something that you've not done before in your life and you don't see yourself as that, no matter how hard you try, if it's identity based, you'll find it very difficult to actually take the step and go and take action and go to the gym. So there's one thing having a conscious conscious desire to change your body, to change your lifestyle. It's another thing to actually put it into action, right? Ego. So also motivation is connected to the ego, again, the identity, what the ego wants, and also comparison. And that's another big one, actually. When you're comparing yourself to someone else, I always say comparison is the killer of dreams, right? Because you're you and that other person is someone else. You cannot, once you start comparing yourself to someone else, you're giving away your power. And so motivation then fluctuates, you could say, based on an internal and external factors. What that means is you're not in control. So if your motivation is wholly based on how you're feeling, on the identity you've set for yourself, the egoic voice, right? The subconscious mind and its stories and patterns, and you're comparing yourself to someone else and you want to be like that, then it's going to fluctuate and you're not in control, right? So an example of that is waking up and deciding to exercise isn't purely logical because it's emotions that are driving that choice, right? Let's go on to the next one. So again, when we're talking about how to change and activate your emotion and to motivate yourself to do something, the trap is waiting to feel like you want to do it. Have any of you, Susie, let me ask you, have you ever tried to change something in your life, like lifestyle habit, and found it difficult? Or you ever tried to implement changes in your life and had difficulty doing that?
I try to wake up early.
Right. Yeah. And it's not easy, is it? Especially in the winter, I think. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that you see, and that's it. So how can you go from non-doing, right? So I want to do this, but yet you wake up and it's like you look outside, nah, I'm gonna sleep a bit more. Okay, no, I'm not gonna do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. It's classic, right? How do we go from non-doing, so wanting the desire to do something, to sabotaging that, right? To then actually getting up and getting it done? Anybody know? Fi, do you know? Any idea? I think we touched upon it yesterday very quickly, but well, it's basically what you need to do is vision, is creating a vision, right? It's the vision needs to be stronger than the desire not to change. So it's tapping into the reasons why you want to do that. So therefore, you've got to be one step ahead. So look at you already achieving that and asking yourself, okay, what is it going to give me? And we're going to go through this. So let's just go through these slides and we'll get through it and you'll understand what I'm trying to say. So the trap here, the problem with chasing motivation, chasing it, right? Trying to be motivated is that it's based on a feeling. And if I feel like doing something, well, I'll do it. But the problem is we're always waiting, it's like waiting for Christmas. We're never going to feel it. And also what happens is when the emotions fade, right? When you maybe you go once, but when the emotions start to fade and the momentum starts to fade, the motivation disappears and you've got no more progress because you stop doing that. You stop taking the action. How many people have started the gym? New Year's resolution, going to start the gym, right? Going to go. And then after the first week or the first month, the emotions start to fade because it's hard work. Motivation disappears and the progress halts. So a motivation-driven approach will always lead to inconsistency and burnout. So this is what's really important to understand. All right, so the role in this, I think with Fire yesterday, I talked to you about the brain's fear center, the amygdala gland, all right? Fight or flight. So we have a 2 million-year-old brain, which is basically still in survival mode. And that part of the brain is always looking out for negative, right? So what is the negative? The negative is anything that is not within your comfort zone. Anything is that you don't normally do, right? Anything that will take you from being you to the next level version of you is a threat to your brain. You understand? So what happens is that when you're trying to change the way that you do things, if you start thinking about it, thinking is an inside job, an internal job. Therefore, it is the job of the subconscious. And your subconscious mind is 1 million times stronger and more powerful than your conscious mind, which is where your wishes and desires live, right? So when you consciously say, I want to write a book, I don't know, why don't you give me, let me ask all of you, Megan, is there something that you want to achieve that you haven't done yet? One thing.
Mm, yeah, my exam.
Your exam. So that's something you wanna do, right? You want to get it done. You want
I want
to,
to get it done.
right,
It's my plan. I want to get it done
right. What?
until next year.
Right.
Yeah.
For next year. So this year, what will that mean then? So would
So
that mean,
this year also I have 4 sections exams, so I want to pass like at least 3 sections
Mhm.
the next year. I wish I want to pass all of them.
Of course, I understand that. What would that give you then? What
It's
what
my
that,
personal achievement, so it's my wish. So I already set up my goals 2025. So I have all my plans. So
right. Well, you see that goal when you say it's a personal achievement for you,
mhm,
there's a feeling connected to that, isn't there?
mhm. Yeah. So and then another one is I want to lose my weight. I gain too much.
Right. I think that's quite a lot of us, and personally, I'm in the same boat over here, so we could do that together. Oh, hang
Mhm.
on, I've got Roy. Hang on, let me just let Roy in. Hi, Roy. I don't know whether I can see him. I have to go around. Hi, Roy. How are you doing? Welcome. We're talking about motivation over here. Hi. How are you? Oh, you got your
Hello?
mic. There you go. Hi.
Yeah.
How are
Just
you
back.
doing? Good to see
I'm
you.
very good, very good. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. Why don't you tell everyone where you're from? Where
I'm
are
from
you?
Hong Kong.
Perfect. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Isabel, why don't we all just present ourselves very quickly to Roy? Isabel, do you want to say where you are?
Yes. Hi everyone. I'm from Mexico City. I live with my mom and my sister in Cancun, and I like here, but at the same time, like in Mexico City because it's cold.
Because it's cold. It's colder. Colder than, yeah. Fi?
Yes.
You just so we can present ourselves to Roy, because Roy's a newcomer.
Oh, hi, Roy. I'm fine. I'm from Hong Kong too. Nice to
Yeah.
meet you.
Perfect.
Nice to
Susie?
meet
Hi, I'm from Taiwan. Nice to meet you.
Beautiful. Rebecca?
Becca, hi, Roy. I'm from Hong Kong too.
Hello. Oh, man is from Hong Kong.
Yeah. Belinda?
Hi, Roy. This is Belinda. I'm from Taiwan. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Hi.
Beautiful. And Megan?
Hi, I'm Korean American. I live in US.
In the US. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. So we're talking about motivation and what drives motivation. All right. So when I'm talk about motivation, I mean, like, we've gone into 2025. I know the Chinese New Year is, when is the Chinese New Year? 20th, January 20th.
29th.
29th, right? Okay. So often we hear about New Year's resolutions at the beginning of the new year. So we're talking about motivation and how it influences our ability to change, to make the changes in our life. So at the moment we've got to the brain's fear center, so the amygdala, which is the driving force behind our kind of activating our actions. It's the drive behind change. So the amygdala gland is responsible for the fight, flight, or freeze response. So I was asking you all, and I asked Megan. My question to Megan was, what is something that you want to achieve this year? And she said, exam, right? And losing weight. Exams and losing weight. Right. So,
Yes.
and I think I'm in the okay, not exams, but losing weight is definitely one of mine this year as well. What I will say about that is, the first most important factor in creating any change is acceptance. And it sounds bizarre and it sounds like counterproductive, but it's true. You cannot make the changes that you wish to see until you accept your current circumstances and accept your current self. Because when the motivation, again, we're talking about motivation, comes from I want to lose weight because I'm too fat. What you're doing is you are rejecting a part of you. So you're running away from something. And when we run from something, we are attracting it into our life, where we're making it bigger. Why? Because the focus isn't on I'm getting in shape. It's more going to be on trying to lose weight. So the focus, by very design, by thought alone, is entirely on the fact that I'm too fat. And whatever you focus on expands.
So I'm not too fat, actually,
I'm thinking about myself, by the way.
No, I mean, I have on my plan to go Asia trip. I mean, I want to go to Korea Hong Kong, Macau, and
Wow.
Taiwan as well.
Hmm.
And I wanna get some nice food there, and I wanna gain again, maybe.
Right. Got
That's
it.
why I wanna lose my weight first. I actually, yeah, I'm Korean. I love to eat like Chinese food, you know.
I love Chinese food too.
I mean, yeah, and that's why I want to losing my weight first, and then I want to gain again when I go to Asia trip.
Yeah, it's a fluctuating, yeah. Well,
Right.
I think we spend too much time, to be honest, too focused on how we look. I think what we need to look at instead, replace it with, is health. You know what I mean? Like again, I think this image of needing to look I don't know, needing to look in a certain way is probably down to social conditioning, again, social media, advertising, conforming to a society that is, has social norms or how you should look, and it kind of dictates that kind of certain images. Do you know what I mean? I think prime on our top list should we need to shift from needing to look like in that way to we've got to start looking at ourselves. It's really more about health than anything else, because you can be overweight, but you can be absolutely stunning. You can be absolutely beautiful. You can be absolutely radiant. It's not really about the weight more than it is about you being happy with yourself and loving yourself and being healthy. That's different. So if we start to make our number one kind of prime objective this year of, okay, setting the standard for my health, being healthy. So what are the steps that I can take to put health at the top of my list? Then it's different, because it's your internal feeling, your internal emotions that creates the outside, the external, the vibrancy. I've seen it myself. When I was, when 6 years ago, when I started to go out for walks and I was in the sunshine every morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, you could see on the outside the health. My skin was radiating, it was visible. And it really comes from the inside. So it's all down to habits, choices, decisions, and also the feeling of growth. You're doing this for you. Right. What is something that you want to change this year? Is there anything that you have in mind, anything that you want to achieve this year? That's to Roy. Did you hear? I don't think he heard. All right, let me ask Belinda.
Hi. Yes. For this year, same thing. I want to make myself to go to gym again.
There's a few of us, huh?
Yeah. So like after turning around the middle age, first time I feel the health is my New Year's resolution. First time I put into my list this year.
Yeah. You and me both.
Yeah.
You and
We
me
are.
both.
Mhm.
Definitely. Isabel, what's yours?
Yes, I would like to go like every day, like to exercise.
So we're all in the same boat here. Well, that's good, because if that's another reason why community is so important, because when you start to move together, we can hold each other accountable, right? And it's different when you feel inspired to make those changes. And Susie, did you
Oh,
already answer? You kind of already answered. Go on.
okay. I want to try mindfulness meditation.
Hmm. What, tell me about that. Mindfulness, because mindfulness and meditation are slightly different, aren't they?
It's something like it kind of match our mm, kind of match our attempt today is to the motivation. I believe that mindfulness meditation can give me the motivation to do and power to do what I would like to achieve.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's something, and this is what we'll look at next time, I think. Next time we're going to look at sort of implementing steps in our routine that will get us closer to our goals. So I think next time we'll look at that one. Yeah. All right. And Rebecca?
Yes. This year I have a target to change my memory because I think myself is difficult to forget, easy forget to the daily life, like something you just ask me, we lack of the connection or difficult to remember the last day, the yesterday. So I keep at the end of my day, I will recall what happened as somewhat specific what happened during the day, and to change, do some brain exercise. Start from this year, continue to do that.
Perfect. Yeah. I have to say that actually, so I remember like 7 years ago now, with 5 kids. So my children were younger, obviously, and I was working and I was still married at the time. So I was like shopping and washing and cooking and cleaning and all of it, working and, all of that. And I remember I got to a point where I just couldn't remember things. And I was doing really stupid things like, I don't know, putting the tissue box in the oven or something ridiculous, And people would say hi to me on the street, and I'd be thinking, I know you, but I can't remember where from. And I thought I had premature Alzheimer's. I really thought there was something seriously wrong because it was that bad. So what did I do? That's when I kind of hit crisis moment in my life. And I realized that I needed to create changes. There was something drastically wrong in many areas of my life. And so that was when I found Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins had a huge impact on my life. Do any of you know Tony Robbins? No? No? No one? None of you? Oh my goodness. Isabel, do you know Tony Robbins? No.
No.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm gonna put Tony Robbins something or other in the chat later. Okay. So Tony Robbins is like, he is probably the world's #1 kind of motivation coach. But I mean, he's changed the lives of millions, like literally people he's saved marriages. He's done so much. He's even artists and actors and athletes. He's helped millions and millions of people. And when I came across Tony Robbins, I was addicted to his energy. That's probably a bad word, addicted, but I was highly inspired by his energy. I mean, you can feel that guy from thousands of kilometers away. He has this big, broad, dynamic, charismatic energy and a lot of knowledge. And so what I did there is that I became obsessed with Tony Robbins. And I said, I need to find out about this guy. So I looked at the books that he'd read. I listened to the people who influenced him. I looked at his morning routine. I looked at the music he listens to, like any information I could find. And it was like, okay, he gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And that's what I did. So the next day, like, I didn't even give my mind the time to even think about it. And that's how you create motivation. That's how you do it. When you get to a point where you are so tired of being that person, being the same person, living the same day 1,000 times and calling it life, when you realize, like, that's it, I need to make a change, I can do this, and you find someone like that, you just do it. It's like, that's, I love the Nike slogan, just do it, right? And it's like that, because if you try to think about it, remember, when you want to change an aspect of your life, you want to get something done, the moment you think about it, thinking is an inside job. It's an internal job. You're referring to the subconscious. The subconscious mind is a million times more powerful than your willpower. It's a million times more powerful than your conscious desire to change yourself. So the moment you think about doing something, you're going to lose every single time. So you don't negotiate with your mind. You say you want to do it, you do it. The thing is, what you need to understand is that you can do anything that you can see in your mind, anything that you can start to believe, you can make true in your life. You can bring it. I've seen it a million times in my life, right? I never thought I'd write a book. I never thought I'd have apps. I never thought I would be able to do what I'm doing. Honestly, I've seen it over and over and over again. If I can do it, you can do it. So it's really about understanding the internal function of your mind, the fears center. We'll go through this another time as well. It's really about just figuring out what do I want? Sitting down with yourself, what do I want? What is not going right about my life, and what do I want to change? Start with one thing, one single thing, and just do it. So, okay, another thing we're going to look at, which is really important, because before we go, this is it. Okay, so the difference between you succeeding when you're making a desire to change, when you're right, when you want to tweak something in your life, is that if you think of the outcome. So let's take the example of going to the gym, right? So, like, there's 3 or 4 of us like saying the same thing. So when you think of the gym, you start to get overwhelmed. Again, when you're thinking, you're referring to the subconscious program, which is going to keep you stuck in your patterns, comfort zone, right? So the very act of thinking, oh yeah, I want to go to the gym. The thing is that you're going to start seeing the outcome of that. So the outcome sounds great. So you could be sitting here eating chips, fries, or McDonald's, right? And thinking about, well, tomorrow I'll start going to the gym. That sounds really great. Yeah, I'll get in shape, right? And meanwhile, you're eating the McDonald's. When you think in terms of the outcome, you're never, ever gonna succeed. Because as I just explained, your conscious mind cannot override the subconscious programs, right? Outcome. Why is it like this? Because you see, your subconscious mind is trying to resolve problems for you. So when we talk about the brain stem, the oldest part of the brain, the amygdala gland, the brain's fear center, right, that activates the fight or flight response, that one is trying to resolve all of your problems. To resolve all of your problems, it has to get rid of the negative. So what does it do? It pays attention to the negative, right? We have the brain's reward center, which is dopamine, right? Dopamine basically is what we're all trying. that gets us into that trap of social media, right? Getting stuck in social media, because your brain is always looking for a reward. So step away from fear. So by design, it will pay attention to fear, and then it will look for a reward, relief. So it's lack of pain. So when you start to think of going to the gym and you're looking at the outcome, to do that very thing, you know that you're going to have to go through a lot of pain, because you can't create muscle by just lifting a lightweight, right? So going to the gym requires what? Fine, let me ask you. No, let me ask Roy, because I haven't talked to Roy much today. What does going to the gym require? Like when you go to the gym, what do you expect?
What I expect, muscle.
Yeah, but to get the muscle, what do you have to go through?
Well, do just weight exercise.
Right. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not easy, is it? It's got to be difficult. It's got to be difficult, right? It's got to be hard. So like a typical, I remember, okay, so I have to tell you this because it's funny. But years ago, I went to the gym, Italian gym, and I was like I was on the bicycle, and I'd been on a while, right? And I was like sweating, and I was just sweating on the bike. And then next to me was this lady. I remember it defeats the whole point of going to the gym. So she was a beautiful woman, but she was sat on the bike next to me on the bike, just very leisurely, right? And she had makeup on and these big hoop gold earrings and lipstick. And then she kept doing this, and I'm thinking, blooming neck. Like, you into the gym just to show, and there's me sweating. And so it's like, why do we go to the gym? We go to the gym to work out, to gain muscle. It takes effort. It takes work. It's difficult, right? It's pain. So the thing is with the amygdala gland and the brain's fear center, it's trying to avoid pain. So anything where it requires effort and pain on your behalf, which is growth and expansion, your mind will try to talk you out of it, right? So that's the thing. So this is why you can't focus on the outcome. The moment you start thinking to yourself, I want to get in shape. Yeah, it sounds great, but are you going to do it? No, because the moment you start thinking about it, your subconscious is one. So the trick is to focus on the action. You've got to start setting yourself up for pain and discomfort, because you've got to start understanding and saying to yourself that if I want the growth and expansion that I'm looking for, whether it's doing the exams, whether it's going to the gym and losing the weight, it's not about losing the weight, because losing the weight, again, is you're trying to get rid of the fat, or you're trying to do something that you haven't had. What you need to do is stop moving away from something and instead change the narrative so you're walking towards something. So instead of thinking, I don't want this, therefore I'm going to do that, you change it around and say, I want this. And then ask yourself, why do I want it? And then ask yourself the third question, what is it going to give me? Right? This is the way forward. So focus on short, small, one thing, tweaking one thing in your day, right? That will help you move towards your goal. So for example, instead of saying, oh, I want to lose weight, right? You can start saying, every time, as soon as I get up, I'm going to do 5 press-ups or 5 sit-ups, right? This is something, I don't know, have any of you heard of the book by James Clear called Atomic Habits? You heard of that? Any of you know? No?
You mean the Jim Quick?
Jim Quick is amazing. Jim Quick is the
Another
mental
one.
coach, yeah?
Tom Atomic
Atomic Habits is Jim Clear. Jim?
Oh, Jim here.
It's Jim Clear, not Jim Quick. Is it Jim? I think it's Jim Clear. Have I got the name wrong? Did I say Jim? Atomic Habits, yeah. So in the book, I think it's in my kitchen. It's in my kitchen. He talks about habit stacking. Habit stacking. Now that's a very, very powerful way, right? What habit stacking, what that means is that when I do one thing, after that one thing, I will do this. So every time I go to the bathroom, I'm going to do 5 pull-ups or 5 lunges. Imagine if every time you went to the bathroom, you did 5 lunges, right? Are you going to see a difference eventually? Yes. The problem is that when we talk about going to the gym and we think about pain and pleasure, right? Your brain's always looking for pleasure, rewards. And we always think, well, I'm not going to see the impact of the results until like 6 months or a year. Okay, I may as well just give up now. So if we start understanding that it's not about seeing the results now, right? James Clear, that's it, not Jim. Yeah, James Clear, Atomic Habits, that's the one. If you can start understand that you don't need to see the results now, it's about the feeling of you making progress. And I can promise you that when you just start where you're at, just start implementing small steps towards your goal. So first of all, start thinking, what is it that I want to achieve? So not what you're moving away from, what you're trying to get rid of, more in the terms of, what do I want for myself? What do I want? And then start tweaking it. What can I do now which moves me one step closer to my goal? It's honestly, trust me, because I've been through it and I've seen it in my life. Small steps create exponential results, really. Yeah. So, in fact, it says here, motivation tied to long-term goals often collapses in the short term. Why? Because people think it's going to take me too long to get in shape. So they give up. But it's not about that. It's about you being consistent. It's about you changing your lifestyle. It's about you becoming the next best version of yourself. And when you just see it too far in the long term, your mind is not going to believe it's possible for you. And like I said, the moment you start thinking about it, you're done. Because it's like you're trying to compete a Fiat Cinquecento with a jet plane, the subconscious and the conscious, right? You're never going to win. So it's you making the decision. I'm in control. This is my life. I get one shot at this. This is what I want this year. This is what I'm doing. I am not going to negotiate with my mind. I make one change. This is important for me. And you just take the step. Okay, so now you make a plan, right? For me, it was 5 a.m. I'm up, out. And I did. And oh my God, I'm telling you, like in such a short amount of time, I saw incredible results. I mean, absolutely incredible. I have the pictures. And that came from sheer determination of, I'm doing it no matter what. I don't care if it rains. I don't care if it's cold. I don't care if I don't feel like it. I'm going to do it. You don't negotiate with the mind. And I'm telling you, you will be so, so proud of yourself and so happy. Your inner state will change. Your serotonin levels will peak, right? And it honestly, when you start doing things like that, the change is so quick. The change is so much quicker than you could possibly expect. So really, it's just about figuring out what it is that you want. And that needs to come from the heart space. So it's sitting down with yourself and just find one thing. And it will come from your intuition, you know? And so, like I said, and this comes from an Eastern philosophy. I think it was the Indians. I think it's the Indian philosophy, which says not to focus on the outcome, but to focus on the action, taking the action. So don't think in the long term. Don't think, you know, okay, this is what. Just think about what I can do tomorrow. So there's basically. There's a book I read when I was in Canada. So you all know that when I was in Canada, I was in a fear state, very difficult position because I was thousands of miles from my daughters, right? Very painful. And I was reading a book by Dale Carnegie. And Dale Carnegie was the guy who wrote that famous book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Very famous. He also wrote another book, and I think it's something like How to Stop Worrying, right? And I started reading this book, and the author of the book, I might have told some of you this story, but the author of the book went to see the captain of a submarine, and they were talking about how to stop worrying about, I don't know, whatever, right? Your future, your family life, whatever worries you, how to stop stress and how to stop anxiety and how to stop worrying. And the guy, the captain of the ship, he said, you want to know how I stop worrying? He said, watch me. He pressed a button and he shut down immediately, tight, very tight, the blinds, the doors of the ship, of the front side of the ship, right? Then he pressed another button and he shut down tightly, watertight, the back part of the ship. He said, this is how I face my problems in my life. And I shut off worry. I shut off the future. I don't think about tomorrow. I don't think about next week. I don't think about what's going to go wrong in my life. And I shut out the past. I let go of everything I've done. And all I do is think about what I'm going to do today that's going to be a little bit better than yesterday. So he says, all you need to do to create a life of meaning and fulfillment is to, when you get up in the morning, just create the space between now when you're getting up and when you go to bed, the best that it can be. Inject all your emotion, elevate your energy, create a playlist, put a music that really inspires you. Read one chapter of a book. We'll go through this next time, right? We'll go through it next time. Get out in the sunshine, even if it's 10 minutes. Get that vitamin D from the sunshine, because that has been scientifically proven to increase your oxytocin levels, right? Your happiness levels. And that for me in that moment, really, it's something I really needed, because I had got myself into such a fear state, you know, away from my daughters. I just couldn't control it. And so reading that little story in that book really made me think. And at that moment, that's what I did. I adopted that thinking and I said, okay, I get up, I've got the space between now and tonight when I go to bed to create this, to do what I can that will help me to get back to my daughters, because that was my intention at the time. And I did. And I did. And I did it really, really quickly. And I saw a miracle, another miracle in my life. So has that helped any of you today? Is it something that has helped you at all in any way?
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yeah, do you find it difficult to understand, or did you manage to understand what? How was that for everyone? Phi, how was it for you?
I think that is a new idea for me, so I have to review it many times.
Yeah. Well, you know, everything that I learned that I'm giving to you now, I had to review it many times. and I'm English. So it's not even to do with the language, it's to do with the fact that it's new concepts, you know, and I used to watch over and over and over and over again lectures and videos and courses that were teaching me these concepts. But I can say that everything that I have told you all today, I've implemented in my life and I've seen radical results. And that's why I'm gifting you this today. Everything that I put here is because I've seen the results in my own life. Yeah.
Thank you.
For sharing.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure. All right, then. So I'll let you all go and enjoy your rest of your Sunday. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye then. I'm going to put it in the chat. Yeah, the video.
Thank you. Have a wonderful
Okay.
day.
Bye, guys. Bye-bye.